Welcome, everybody, to this month's edition of The Wellness Policy. My name is Ting. Join with me, as always, once a month on a Thursday at 1 p.m. Jordan Goodman. How are you doing, Jordan?
Yes, I'm good. I found the cowbell. I am not wearing a Hillary Duff or Wade Ting graphic tee. I'm wearing a button down because we are going on a date today, Wade.
Oh, man. You know what? I forgot my button up in the closet. It's just it's in the dry cleaners. Or maybe it's one of those dates where I'm just going out of obligation. But Thank you very much, Jordan. I'm happy to be here with you. And you know what? Maybe this one's a bit unconventional because we're going to have a third wheel joining us. Braden Herrington, you know him, everybody, from upNXT, from BD podcasts. And in my life, at least, my connection to modern dating these days, because I get all my news from him. How you doing, Braden?
Hello. What's going on, boys? First of all, it's not a third wheel. It's a threesome. And Jordan, Metamorphosis is the best Hillary Duff album. And I hope the t-shirt that you have is that artwork on it. Just making sure.
The one I had was the 2005 North America tour.
Oh, okay. Did you go to the tour? Did you go to that tour?
Of course. And okay. I bought the bootleg t-shirt outside.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm happy to be here with you guys. You two are like, I feel like I'm almost a matchmaker for you two in a weird, strange way. You know, I have Way in my life. He's been there for a while. Looked up to him. He's helped out. He's looked out for me. And then I bump into Jordan Goodman. I don't know if anyone knows, but you know, we met at a Ring of Honor show.
And hashtag ROH Buffalo.
That's right. And then years go by, and then now you two have kind of like joined forces and started dating each other for this wellness policy show. And you guys are knocking it out the park, guys. Like, the world needs this. The wrestling podcast community needs this. No one else is doing this where you guys are doing such awesome things. And yeah, I'm happy that you guys are doing this, and I'm happy that I helped, push it together.
We're just like one big incestuous pool, that just really dates each other. So I'm really happy to have you here, Braden. Of course, we wanted, we put the invite out there to Davey to join us as well. But unfortunately, he is traveling right now en route to Chicago. So maybe we get him on for a sequel. Now, off the top here, I because this is the wellness policy, I'm just going to change direction just briefly. Wrestling fans in the world right now are probably, aware of the situation involving Daffney Unger that just really occurred last night. As of this recording at 1 p.m. on Thursday, we still have no known update on that situation. But nonetheless, it is obviously a topic that I'm sure every wrestling fan, every sort of mental health advocate is paying attention to right now. Just wanted to mention that we continue to wish her and her close ones all the best in this situation. And actually, Jordan, I kind of wanted to throw it to you if you might have any sort of, resources that people might be able to reach out to if they're going through something similar.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I kind of have some vague details from last night, but I think I'm a bit ignorant to what is going on specifically. You're listening to this on your phone or on the internet somewhere. I don't know if the situation perhaps would call for something like a suicide prevention hotline, but if that's something that would make sense for you to save into your phone, I think that would be a good idea if sometimes you struggle with those types of thoughts or feelings. Really sharing with someone that ideally you trust and that cares about you. Oftentimes, whether it's something incredibly dire or you're just feeling some stress or anxiety, I've found, at least for myself and for the people that I serve, just sharing what you're feeling often helps a lot. Feeling seen, feeling heard, if someone's able to hold some space for you, often that creates a bridge to be able to start dealing with what you're going through internally, perhaps in a way that feels a bit more manageable or hopeful. Obviously, an emergency, you can call 911 if you have a primary care physician that you can get in touch with. But I think it's just helpful to know that even at times when you may feel like all is lost, there are people that give a fuck. There are people that care. Even if they don't know you personally, there are always people out in the world that will genuinely care. And oftentimes those people are waiting for someone like you to reach out to them.
Thank you very much for that, Jordan. And yeah, as always, we have a Discord channel set up at postwrestling.com/Discord, a wellness policy channel where, you know, topics like these can really anything you guys want to talk about. If you just want an ear to hear about maybe your day, or if it's just something to like, if you want to just chat about wrestling, join us there. It's always a really welcoming community that's available at postwrestling.com/Discord. Let's lighten up the mood just a little bit here because we are here to talk about the topic of dating. And I feel like we'll have more of a specific slant on perhaps modern dating, you know, just like, I guess, given maybe our respective ages and maybe the ages of the people that are listening to this podcast right now. How did we even arrive at this topic, Jordan?
How did we? Well, you and I chat. We kind of date in a sense. We check in every now and then. You just got married, of course.
Right.
You just got married. So I think that's why it was top of mind for me. You met your now wife on a dating app, yes?
Correct. Yes. I would say like we're probably like maybe like among the first generation of like, if there are generations, I suppose, of like, you know, Tinder adopters. And I did meet my wife on Tinder, yes. And I suppose maybe we're even among the first crop of Tinder marriages that might be happening. So
I officiated my brother's wedding in Vegas. If you listened to the Wellness Policy a couple episodes ago, you may be aware of that. And they as well met on Tinder 5 years or so ago. So yeah, it's just an interesting phenomenon of, especially app dating. You know, I know some people are kind of messing around on things like Match.com over a decade ago, but I think it was this like mobile app technology that kind of brought it to a critical mass where it became much more, let's say, socially acceptable. And there's just more people out there using it. I've been in a relationship for a year now. We met on Bumble. I had been using dating apps for many years, and I had a ton of fucking resistance early on. I ended up finding a ton of enjoyment in using it. And I don't know, like there's something interesting or funny about a bunch of people, wrestling fans, talking about dating. I thought, why not?
Wait, do you know what Bumble is? Have you used Bumble Way?
No, like that. And I think coffee and bagel?
Oh, I don't know that
like,
one. Maybe
yeah, coffee meets bagel.
Coffee meets
something
bagel.
like that.
Yeah, those are all kind of they're after. But yeah, what's the deal?
Yeah, Bumble is where it's like Tinder, where you make an account, you swipe, you swipe right, swipe left, whatever. But it's Bumble, which means that if you match with a girl, then a woman, then she has to message you first. You can't message her. You can you match with her, but you got to get the message from them first. So it's like almost like they're the gatekeepers of the first attempt, the first line.
And do you like it more?
I mean, I personally have not used it in a while, but Jordan, it's kind of different. I mean, maybe people want to be the one to make the first attempt, the first line or whatever. So maybe it doesn't work in your favor.
I mean, my assumption would be that perhaps it feels more comfortable for a woman to be in control of the opening line. You know, I've talked to many women. I see our dating consultant, her eyes blow up. So maybe I said something completely offensive. And I'd love to engage in that later on. But look, I mean, guys can often be fucking pigs. I have, many female friends just show me the comments in their dating app profiles, and it's all just completely mindless, objectifying, opening lines. And I'd imagine that is not an enjoyable dating experience.
Unsolicited pictures all the time. They get everything. Like girls in general, women in general, when they're walking down the street, get catcalled, let alone online on the internet now, where they can just get all these messages. Like Instagram, for instance, you should ask your one friend how many DMs she gets a day from just strangers, because it's insane. Yeah, it's insane. Men are definitely trash. Unfortunately, though, sometimes it seems that women are raccoons, because they come after, they for some reason are just like sucked into these people who treat them so awful. No, I'm kidding. But yeah,
Now I know why. Now I know why the BD logo has a raccoon.
Is a raccoon. This is true. It's very weird. You're totally right, Jordan. How many times do people in your life go, oh wow, look what I got from this guy I've been messaging with. It's pretty sick and twisted. Guys, we could do better.
Okay, so a few things. Jordan, you mentioned we have a dating profile expert joining us later in the show. Her name is Erica Lambart. We'll get to her in just a bit. I look forward to that. But maybe we should take it back to maybe some of our own personal histories of like before we even getting to perhaps social media dating before the internet. How did we meet? People to date, and maybe I'll start off where my dating history is actually very, very limited. I didn't really start dating until like my 20s. And then I guess it was a pretty typical answer for most people. Yeah, Jordan, your eyes just lit up. I mean, life as I don't know, basement wrestling fan wasn't really too conducive for me in the dating world. But yeah, I was definitely a late bloomer. But I got into my first serious relationship after like going to school and going to like a friend's mutual party, and it was actually a classmate of mine that we had just kind of been around each other for a long time and known each other, but we ended up like connecting at a friend's party and ended up dating after that. So I did that, and that's probably like my only like real like serious relationship connection that existed prior to, I would say, me getting on like finding a partner or at least potential partners on the internet. Because that lasted maybe a year, and then I just like didn't date for a whole lot of time until I think I just like maybe got really kind of tired of it and said, all right, I should probably like solve this little part of my life. I mean, I was very comfortable by myself, but it was just more like, you know what, I should probably like explore like some of this stuff while I can. I actually signed up for a speed dating thing, and
how did that work?
And it's like, I think for me, it was as much like just doing it for a story and like doing it for the experience and just doing it to make myself laugh as anything. But I actually ended up having a great time. Like I met like, like two people that I ended up going on dates with. It's a bit odd, but it's no more weird than like swiping around and like, chatting with somebody, a complete stranger. It's no weirder to me than like buying a drink at a bar for somebody and going up to a complete stranger. Like all this stuff is artificial in a way. But the idea is you want to expose yourself to the most amount of people that you might potentially match up with. And I guess like speed dating for me, at least the one time I did it, was very much like a in-person version of perhaps, online dating, because you're really just dealing with superficialities for the most part. And though you do get a little bit of conversation, a little bit of personality, a little chance for connection. So I actually recommend it. It actually jump-started kind of like my whole perspective into like jumping back into dating. And from then on, like, yeah, just like, got into Tinder. And it wasn't really shortly after that where like I ended up with, my present wife. So that's pretty much like it. Not a whole lot to talk about. But I'm certainly curious to hear some of your stories. Maybe we yeah.
Well, I was gonna wait. Like, so in grade school, I mean, you're talking about a first relationship, but you weren't really trying to like just hold girls' hands or like go to the movies or anything.
No, honestly, like I've always found that it just didn't really come natural, I have to say. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe at one time it was like definitely a source of like, maybe discomfort and anxiety, but. Yeah, and honestly, it's like it was rather common maybe amongst my circle of friends. So that's probably, maybe more indicative of like us than anything. But yeah, no, not really.
Because for me, like besides music and wrestling, like that's all I wanted to do. I mean, I would have like quote unquote girlfriends in like fourth grade, like elementary school. It really wasn't until puberty where like
good for you,
shit got
Jordan.
weird from. Thanks.
Playboy Jordan Goodman over here.
Yeah, damn.
Well, things were going well into puberty for me. and then things got awkward and weird, and I just didn't feel comfortable in my body. I didn't feel confident, and then I didn't do much of that. And for me, it felt vulnerable and uncomfortable, because then it felt like, well, the longer I wait, then the more inexperienced I feel, which then creates even more anxiety. And I'd imagine a lot of people, no matter your gender, could relate to that. I watched the 40-year-old version again a few months ago, and even just in that story, it was relatable in a very brief few years of my adolescence, of feeling like other people are progressing further, and I was feeling more left behind. But then things started happening, as we could say. I think for me, and perhaps I kind of stumbled upon it, just confidence, I think, was the biggest key. I know for me, especially as an older teen, I would find self-confidence in external things, like having success in a rock band, for instance. But still, that would mask a sense of insecurity. Throughout my life, the older I get, the more that I've been able to love myself, honor myself as I am, more confidence naturally emerges. And then it's at least a bit less vulnerable, or I don't know, a sense of like friction to try to date or to meet other people, because their opinion of you isn't necessarily reflective of how you feel about yourself.
You know what you mentioned about like self-confidence, and I think, I think that to me is one of the most important things that I hope to be able to talk about here. And it's that, like, when you're presenting yourself to somebody for the first time, it forces you to really look at yourself. And that's something that I probably maybe miss about dating, is the introspection that might come with it. And it really forces you, at least for me, like, for all those years where like I didn't date, like I didn't feel comfortable enough until I started to feel comfortable with myself. And it really kind of forced me to like focus and work on myself first of all, before, I was cool enough to like, be happy to go out there to present myself to somebody else. So anyway, how about you, Braden?
Yeah, I mean, I say I'm kind of a late bloomer, because like when I was like 16, I was kind of like the pudgy, funny kid at school. So I didn't really date, but some of my friends were and such. But it wasn't until I hit like 17, 18, so I started dating. And then everything else in my life became second important, because like once you find, when you're 18 and you know what you're finally kind of getting into, that's kind of where I was like, oh, this is all I want. I want to go out with people. I want to hook up with people. Like that's what I was doing. But then I wouldn't say Tinder wasn't around just yet. And then I was in a high school relationship, and then I was in a relationship through college. But then after that broke up is kind of definitely when I really sort of became my own like person. I think you said, Way, that like when you go out on dates and stuff, and you're almost forced to talk about yourself when you meet new people, it's almost like you're finding things out about yourself that you like believe in. If you talk to someone new on a date and you're like, oh, I'm a wrestling podcast, I watch lots of wrestling and stupid movies, and I record podcasts, and they go, oh, like what kind of wrestling do you like? And I answer, well, I really like Japanese wrestling. Then I know now, oh, well, that's what I answered. That's what I must like. It's like you find things out about you like that. Like obviously not just wrestling related, but
Or or in some cases, what you want somebody to think.
Yeah. If someone, that's definitely true, because you do want to find connections and stuff. But I'd say through like my 20s, and then I was in a few serious relationships like in my life, but you definitely find yourself more when you do meet new people and you do explore things, and then it makes you comfortable that you are ready to maybe meet someone special and do kind of create a relationship with. But I'd say that definitely, I thought 18 was like late blooming for me, but I'm a little younger. Like I just turned 30 this year. So from the generation like coming now after me, they're literally doing just that, because like kids these days are wild, and if they got all these apps and shit like that, like who knows what kids are doing these days. But I thought 18 for me was like late blooming, essentially, of starting relationships and stuff like that. But definitely now through my 20s, I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, the ease of doing it, I think, is so much. I don't know. It's so convenient, I suppose. Like in the past, you might have had to actually physically decide to go out. You had to be in the right situation with your friends, perhaps. You had to find yourself in like the proper social setting. Now, like you could be like in, like in your own bed, waking up and like, trying to court somebody or like I don't know. Like you could be sitting on the toilet, like trying to like court somebody.
You can literally swipe, 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 and wipe, 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 and no one will ever know that you've met or matched them while you were taking a poop. No one would ever know that. Would you ever tell them that way? If you matched with someone that you went on a date with, you would not tell them that you were on the can.
Oh my
Well,
God.
speak for yourself, Braden.
Future branches of a family tree are being created right now with people sitting on the can.
Exactly.
That is quite crazy to think about. But maybe we'll kind of transition a bit more into like the social media dating age, and I suppose like maybe let's go around and maybe talk about some of your first experiences with this kind of relatively novel concept. And let's start with you, Braden.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned earlier, you guys say we're just in the generation now where you're seeing, I'd say for the past 5 years or so, you started seeing more Tinder weddings, more people who actually meet on these dating apps. And it's become, before your parents or your aunts, your uncles, they'd be like, oh, so-and-so are getting married. Well, how'd they meet? They met online. Like, it's so like, whoa, they met on a dating app. Now it's like, no, like it's straight up. No, they met on Tinder. It's a totally normal thing. And it should be that way. Like, why not? It should be that way. My first thing is I got out of my like first relationship after like high school, college, and there was no Tinder, but lots of my friends were like, hey, like join this website called Plenty of Fish. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that website, but it's before Tinder. It's something. I'm thinking it's still a site, but so I use that. And POF, yeah, the chat's going off. I see someone in it. POF was a great invention where if you, I don't know, I thought it was the greatest invention ever. I still think it is, to be honest, because I could go on this thing with my profile at 8 o'clock at night and match with someone. And then by 10 o'clock at night, I would be having a really good night. And it's like, wow, this app is amazing. Like, who knew the internet could be made for this thing? And I definitely loved that thing, but it definitely got me into some trouble along the way. So I'm happy that maybe less people use that and more people use like your Tinders and your stuff.
Wait, so you're saying that was worse? That was like more troublesome than
I don't want to say,
was?
yeah, I don't want to say like POF, Plenty of Fish is like bottom of the barrel, but I'm saying like if you wanted to hook up with someone, you could probably get away with it. Like again, like literally multiple times I'd be like, oh, okay, like, what am I doing tonight? Let's see what I can do tonight. And then boom, like I could have a date and then who knows what ends up happening. But like, it was pretty like on the nose. But coming from that, if it's something that happens so easy, then again, that's when maybe problems can arise when you get like your psychopaths, your stage 5 clingers, your all sorts of riffraff that can come with, again, bottom of the barrel. Not saying that it is, because I'm sure people still use this website, but definitely check it out.
I mean, what I find fascinating is the fact that like you essentially all these services are the same, and it's not like the guy who created Plenty of Fish says, I'm going to create the bottom of the barrel dating app, or like the guy who makes Match.com says, I'm going to make the highest quality. Maybe he did say that, or he or she did say that. But I just find it interesting how like all these different services have sort of their own reputation for the different types of experiences that you might have. Like, what exactly is it about the, I don't know, technology of like Plenty of Fish or is it just the crowd that eventually gathers at this like bar, I suppose?
Yeah, it must be like the dive bar of dating apps, really. Because it's still a thing. It's definitely still a thing. I know I haven't used it in ages because eventually I did move away when Tinder came around and all that. So I definitely was using, like, Tinder has I have the most success from in real life, IRL approaches and connections. However, when it comes to dating apps and stuff, like Tinder is definitely number one, setting aside the Plenty of Fish years in my early 20s. But like Tinder is definitely the most used app for hooking up, for meeting people, for whatever. Tinder is like absolutely number one.
So we have somebody in the chat room who says, "I met my fiance on POF." What does that say about me?
I mean, again, I was saying I didn't want to say it was bottom of the barrel because again, it was like one of the only sites that were doing this. So it's like it's fine. Like again, that was when we
are generalizing and this is all just mostly done in jest, of course. Yeah. Okay, so what about you, Jordan? Any like what were your first experiences like, meeting somebody on the internet?
Plenty of fish, bottom of the sea, we could say. I joined Tinder in like early 2015. I had just come out of a relationship that lasted a few years. And to be honest, I was very resistant of it. And it was all self-critical. I did not want people that knew me to see me on it because to me, the perception was like, it felt lesser than, and I'd be judged. That was all on me. Once I got over myself, I remember setting up a profile, and like I took every swipe so fucking seriously, guys. Like because I didn't want to match with someone, and then actually I'm not that interested, and I like made it this whole thing. Eventually, I realized in some ways it's a game, and it's a game of swiping. Now, obviously, there's a shadow side to the convenience, and I think a ghosting culture is definitely much more prominent, I would argue, because of the technology and the sense of being behind a quote-unquote keyboard with anonymity. My first Tinder date was amazing. A girl who lived in New Jersey, so it was pretty clear that this would be like, hey, let me show this girl around Baltimore City. There isn't much involved as far as stakes. She was here for a week on business. I take her out. She was smart. She was cute. She was cool. I end up in the hotel room at the end of the night. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I resisted this dating app thing, and this is the greatest thing of all time. Quickly, I realized that's not the norm. And I started going on many dates where we would kind of text a little bit. I was never interested in an endless text thread. My goal had always been, let's at least get a phone number as quickly as possible if I feel some interest. Let's move it forward a bit. And I realized I ended up going on so many dates where within the first few minutes, I know I am not feeling this at all. Whether it's just an interpersonal chemistry, whether it's a physical chemistry, and I spent so much time and so much money in these pursuits that I realized would not be fruitful. So for me, I also learned a bit earlier on, I'm trying to FaceTime or at a minimum get someone on the phone, even for 10 minutes, just to get a sense of an interpersonal chemistry, because at worst, we'll have a good chat in person if we meet.
I'm sorry to interrupt you though, because like you're clearly older than me, Jordan. Anyone 30 and under, we don't use the phone. We don't phone people. We don't talk on the phone. We don't, even in today's society. A friend of mine, she is currently on dating apps and stuff like that. She says to me, I have to have a FaceTime with someone before I meet them. And I'm like, cool. Like, I understand that. And you're a young lady, like you want to make sure you're meeting someone that you see. But for me, I'm like, I don't even FaceTime anyone. Like my mom calls me. I'm like, Mom, just text me. Hold on. Like I'll come to your house and we'll hang out tomorrow. But like, I don't want to, like, I'm busy. I don't like FaceTiming and stuff like that. I'd rather have like the connection more so in person. But then now with like the pandemic.
Hold up, Braden. You say you're busy. So time is limited. Time is valuable. Of course, it should be for all of us. You could tell within 5 minutes of a phone chat or FaceTime chat whether it's worth putting in the hour minimum to like get ready and to go meet someone in public, even if it's just for a 30-minute coffee date. That's a waste of time.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. I hate the like doing a date via something else now before going to it's like I think it's weird, but that's also part of this like world of social media dating and everything. Like in the real world, if I'm at a bar or something and it's cool, it's chill, and I strike up a conversation with someone, that's like, now I know I can gauge and everything if maybe they can, and they're doing the same thing. Like, do I want to keep talking to this guy? Like, do I want to, have a drink with this person? It's definitely something. You're probably right. I'm just saying, I'm kind of like, I hate the like talking on the phone, I guess, but like FaceTiming kind of strangers and stuff is a little odd. But
well, I've also had women say that they would sometimes prefer to meet in person and not do FaceTime. And I guess there's some vulnerabilities about how they present there. I kind of understand it. I don't know. It also, FaceTime to me would just feel inherently safer when you're meeting a stranger for the first time.
But I suppose I would understand it from some people's perspectives if like they want to look their best for a first impression, right? If like, hey, like I have this great set of photos. I don't always look like this set of photos when I'm just, texting somebody. I prefer to have that hour before I connect with you, or at least I show you my live in person form.
Yeah, I just told them to go to my twitch.tv/upNXT podcast to see what I look like, or how I talk, if I'm a real person or something. I see Brandon in the chat saying a new thing on Tinder that you have to do is you have to FaceTime to prove that you're real. I have heard that some apps make you, in fact, do this FaceTime type thing to make sure, like, hey, I am this person, so forth. But yeah.
Interesting.
I think any kind of verification is nice because, especially on Tinder, maybe relative to a Bumble at least a few years ago, I mean, there was just a lot of spam and fake accounts, which was very frustrating from a user experience perspective. I've had many women say that when I'm trying to have a phone chat or a FaceTime chat, many have told me, hey, that's not the norm, at least their experience. And some find it a breath of fresh air. Some don't feel comfortable doing it. But I think maybe a more helpful point that we can take from this is everyone is looking for something different. So there are women out there who found it really attractive that early on, after a few texts back and forth, I said, hey, I'd love to connect more. Can I get your number? We could chat on the phone. If a woman is attracted to that, well, then that's probably a better fit for what I'm looking for in a mate.
Yeah, totally. Like whatever works for you. And hopefully, like, I mean, the real benefit, I would say, of like the internet age with dating is the fact that it puts you into contact with like plenty of people that you would otherwise never meet. You'd have to go to a million bars probably to, interact with the potential amount of people. Now, those connections are probably a lot deeper once you do engage with somebody in the bar, but for somebody like me who doesn't really like go out to too many bars or finds themselves in too many of those situations, like it definitely was revolutionary. And I would say like when Tinder came around, you laugh. Well, what's so funny?
Well, no, because how did I don't want to call you guys old heads again, but like, how did you guys do it before the internet? What were you like?
You know how we did it, Braden? I would go to a coffee shop. I'd see a cute girl I was attracted to.
A Marshall, a QT.
The room.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would, at least in the most non-threatening, respectful way that I could, I'd go chat her up. And if I felt an interest, I would express that.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
You've never done that?
That's how it's done.
And
then she tells you that she has a boyfriend, or that like she lives like X amount of distance away, or like like all these things that like, and you're psyching yourself up before you could even go out there. Meanwhile, like with an app, it's just like, it's one motion. And you could multiply that by like 15, like in the span of like, 2 minutes.
It's also like in a normal out in real life situation, you sometimes, for me, you got to have like the guts, the balls to go up to someone and strike up a conversation. Whereas like usually in my experience, there's something that has to happen, essentially a Tinder, meaning like a little something that happens in your day-to-day. Maybe someone in the coffee shop bumps into you, or you get the wrong coffee and then you start talking to them, or you're someone in the elevator or something like that. Like you're not just literally going up to them and being like, yo, what's up? Like there is something that makes this sort of connection in the first place that definitely like I found I could never just like straight up go up to a stranger who's like waiting at a red light or something and be like, hey, what's up? Can I have your number? The back of your head's ridiculous.
I couldn't always do that, but there were moments in my day or stretches in my life where for whatever reason, I just had more confidence. I wasn't as, I wouldn't be as insulted or injured by rejection. often if I would get rejected, I would still feel better about myself for even like trying and expressing that this was something that I desired in the moment. It was definitely harder in more neutral social settings like a cafe. Far easier if you're at a concert or something like that, because at least you know everyone is there because of some mutual interest. So I found social situations like that, or a party. Everyone probably knows the host. That's a bit easier because there's some gravity in the relatability between you and this now stranger.
I don't know if you know this, but I am a huge fan of karaoke. Karaoke is one of my favorite pastimes. I'm a karaoke champion. I love it. Since bars have been open, I've been a bunch. I love karaoke. For me, when I was single in my early 20s and 20s, just in general, that was it. That was the spark. That was the connection. Because you go to a karaoke bar, you all are now watching someone either sing really well or sing really bad. You can point over to the next person beside you like, oh, hey, are you going to sing? There's so many like options. And it's very similar to a concert. Like, oh, hey, there's music that we must both kind of like. I always found that I felt so like comfortable in my own home almost when I'm at like a bar that is just like a karaoke bar for some strange reason. That's just how I like would always go, and that's what helped me strike up a conversation. Obviously, like a bar is somewhere where people are drinking, people want to talk to people most of the time, and that's what I kind of hate about this pandemic era of bars. At least here in Toronto, it's like you're separating people. So now you just have to go to a bar with your group that you probably already fucking see all the time anyways, when really you want to go to a bar so you can meet new people, but now you can't really do that. So it's kind of making bars seem kind of pointless to me right now. Like
that's why you got to FaceTime, Braden.
That's it. You got to FaceTime people all the time. But I mean, it's different because I bet, I don't know statistics and stuff, but during this pandemic, dating apps probably like doubled, quadrupled, like in everything. Like all these people who were like, oh, you use Tinder? That's sus, that's sketchy. And now they're dating people constantly on Tinder, or they're using Tinder to meet people. Like, I think now the pandemic has pushed it to make it not even the new norm, but like so normal. It's almost weird if you're dating and you're not on these apps.
But that's reflective of how we socialize now. Look at what we're doing literally right now through Zoom. You know, think of how much time you spent on Twitch the past year and a half compared to how you spent that time prior. And work culture, etc. Like, this is what we do now in general.
It is more important than ever, I suppose, to be able to, embrace technology, I suppose, if we want to at least maintain a lot of the customs that we usually do. And that certainly means maintaining perhaps the best profile of yourself online as you are able to when you're meeting somebody for the first time on one of these social dating apps. And thankfully, we have an expert here to join us to talk about dating profiles. She is a dating profile consultant. Her name is Erica Lambart. Erica, thank you for joining us on the Wellness Policy.
Hi, thanks, Wade. How are you doing?
Doing very well.
Awesome.
So tell me about your like, is this a job, like your title? Like, how did you arrive at this?
So while y'all were talking about like the evolution of online dating, I have literally online dated since OkCupid, which was predating Plenty of Fish. It was a website, and I believe it started in 2005, and I was on it 2006 of January. Right, I was right there at the beginning because I date mostly nerdy guys that aren't good at approaching very confident and strong women. So online dating worked really well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And so I've been able to see the entire evolution of it all. And you're right in saying that like Tinder is now the #1 rated and used app. Bumble started because the woman who started it was originally one of the creators of Tinder, and the sexism that she was getting, it was too much and nobody would do anything about it. So she left and created Bumble. That's why Bumble and Tinder are almost identical in terms of platform. The only difference is that women have to message first. And in terms of swiping, when we were talking about that, Jordan, I think you had it right when you were saying you were being more picky. That is one of the things that I tell all of my clients to do is genuinely read people's profiles and like read what they are, read what they say, because women will spend the time to describe what they want and what they are looking for And oftentimes, I know Jordan's profile isn't like this because I've seen it before when he was online dating. But it's a lot of times it's guys that are very upset that they're even online dating, because their egos have maybe been hurt or bruised because they were in this relationship that they thought was great, and then it ended. And so now they're frustrated that they have to then online date. And all of that aggression and anger in a majority of profiles, it is a majority, it's not all, but it is a majority, gets reflected in that. So I kind of took my years of online dating experience, mixed with the fact that I have worked as a men's stylist, mixed with the fact that I do social media marketing. And I kind of combined all those things during the pandemic because you're right. I think it was Brandon who had said it, where everybody flocked to online dating during the pandemic. And it was this hyper mix up. Now people are upset that they're even online dating, mixed with they're not doing it well, right? Like you had mentioned going up to somebody at a bar and you get to see how they interact. Well, that's great. That's essentially like sending a first message to somebody where you're saying like, hi, I think you're cute. And with online dating, it kind of creates it so that you can do that you can do that for multiple people. But oftentimes people get so distracted by how many people you can do at once, you actually miss really good people because you're spending too much time spreading it to everybody else. So what I have done through the pandemic was I created a kind of guerrilla style marketing where I created my own Tinder account. I've been banned from Tinder, Bumble, all of them. And then I just keep creating fake accounts again to get back out there and kind of reach genuinely what my client is, which is it's guys that are frustrated online dating and why it's not working for them. And I just tell them specifically what they're doing wrong. I tell them usually to get therapy, but in like a kind way. I tell them books to read in terms of, I tell them to get therapy a lot. And go through and kind of work through their wardrobe as well, because I've been a men's stylist for so long that I go through and show them how to measure themselves via Zoom link. So they measure themselves and I get them properly fitting clothing and I send them links and they get to order it all themselves. And then we line up a photo shoot. We do that. And I take all brand new photos because guys often have horrible backgrounds. The three of you are not included in this for this one thing. And then I tell them about having a FaceTime or a Zoom or whatever, a meeting with the person before even meeting them, because you don't want to waste your time. You can spend 30 minutes, whether you want to be all dolled up for it or not, and you kind of set that as a pre-date. And I think that is something positive that genuinely came from the pandemic is it, for my clients, it forced them to be choosier and to genuinely put who they are in their profiles. So I don't know, I talk a lot. Is that good?
It makes total sense. What are some of the perhaps biggest mistakes that you find some of your clients making when it comes to social media profiles?
Oh, there's so many. So first of all, men love to do this angled shot in their vehicle, like the car shot, gross. Sunglasses, gross. Don't wear sunglasses in your photos. You get one photo with sunglasses. If people are sitting here trying to swipe, and like you guys had said, women have literally our profiles are flooded with messages, then why aren't you doing everything that you possibly can to show exactly who you are as a human being? Show your best foot. And I'm not saying lie about who you are, but maybe that upward facing angle photo that doesn't even show who you are, don't use it.
You need to have more pictures with fish. They need more pictures with fish.
Also not true. It's a lot of like, it's simple things, right? Like you shouldn't have a selfie. You should have photos that are face forward that actually show who you are. Show who you would be if somebody approached you in public. And that is a huge flaw that guys do often. And they also have a lot of negativity in their profiles. Like it is just negative. It is upset that they're there, upset that anything is going on. And they haven't taken the time to self-reflect. And even though, like, I forget what the statistics are, but it's basically like twice as many men that are online dating versus women, right? And we know this, like, this is scientific stats or facts, right? So all I do is I take those problematic profiles, like there's this many men that are online dating and there's this many women, but in terms of guys who have good profiles, it's this, right? So all I do is I take my cluster of clients that are down here and I pop them into that group of men that are desirable, show that they're a worthwhile partner, show that they show emotional education and empathy, show that they are, for the most part, usually feminist, or something that they realize that feminism isn't a bad word. It actually just means that we all should be created equally or treated equally. And it's kind of all of those things. And I just help their profile by rewriting it. And then they all of a sudden get women flock to them. Like one of my first clients was engaged almost immediately. He went 4 years without a girlfriend. And by kind of helping him through and showing what he was doing wrong when he was messaging women, and showing why those were negatives, he was able to get an amazing, amazing fiance. I was still kind of like shocked because like he was cool, but like not that cool. So it's kind of, I think the biggest thing that men do wrong with internet profiles is they show their anger, and that reflects through their photos that look like they don't care. It shows through their profile writing that looks like they're angry and they don't care. And that doesn't impress women when they're all fighting for the good profiles. And I think that's oftentimes what you see with online dating and the mistakes that are being made.
So we are on a wrestling podcast network, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to make a wrestling reference here, but it sounds like you're essentially the performance center for men's dating social.
She's a
profiles.
manager. What do you mean?
I'm a manager.
She's a manager.
She's a manager, but she takes the raw talent that's out there. Okay, she plucks them up from like, I don't know, their
NFL,
college football backgrounds.
Yeah.
She packages them in a way that presents an element of who they are at their core, maybe just at a slightly exaggerated, very presentable form that encourages the audience to like them. So I mean, clearly, like you're making a big difference in many people's lives, and to me, it like oftentimes when I think about like maybe social media profile management, like it can seem like, well, how am I going to manipulate somebody into liking me or liking somebody? But it sounds more to me like you're concentrating on authenticity and really just being able to like go through some of the obstacles to present this person's core authentic self out to the world.
Yeah, it's definitely that. It's a lot of, I talk a lot. It's a lot of finding photos and like genuinely, after remodeling them, like giving them a nice spruce. I like to call it like a soft makeover, which is usually just like getting better fitting clothing. I then go through and take photos of them, and it's usually a 2 to 3 hour photo shoot where I'm genuinely talking, I'm cracking jokes. I'm usually cracking like some real inappropriate jokes intentionally because it breaks people out of their poses and it captures the images of them at their core where they're smiling or they're laughing and they're not looking at the camera and they're doing something goofy or they look like they're talking to somebody. And it's all those things psychologically that appeal to women. When you're looking at women's profiles, those are the photos those women take. So if as a man, you're trying to attract women, why are you not replicating the style of profile that women have that they are using to represent themselves in the world? And by doing that, that's literally what it is. Everybody's looking for somebody who kind of views the world similarly to them, whether that's a positive or a negative, that is what it is. And so if men, for the first time in modern history, have discovered that they have to not just bring a dick and a paycheck to a relationship, but they have to be likable. And this is the first time in modern history that we've had to deal with this because women weren't even allowed to have their own checking accounts until the 80s. Right. So we are now dealing with a society in which women can have careers and jobs. They bring everything to the table. What they're looking for is a partner and not a child that they have to help raise. So if you are that good partner, which for the most part, and I say no to a lot of clients with helping them because I don't think they're capable or worth my help. But for those that are, it's been life-changing for them, right? Because they have the paycheck, they have the understanding to know that they need to do better emotionally, that they need to be going to therapy, that they need to, get their hair cut regularly like women do, that they need to deal with like facials and deal with their clothing and make sure that it fits and that it's not dirty because women see through that. Women see when you look like a project and not a partner. And that's what we're dealing now with online dating, where you have all of these men flooding these women's inboxes to the point where women get to be pickier. We get to be pickier because we are making way more money and we can do stuff on our own. And so we're looking for a partner.
Project, not a partner. I like that.
That's a money line.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add, and perhaps this is kind of pivoting elsewhere, but Wei, a bit ago, you just mentioned something about, us maybe just speaking for men, being worried about attracting a partner. We all feel that way. That's kind of what dating is, this idea of we want to be attractive to people that we're attracted to. I think what was really helpful for me at some point was, instead of worrying so much and being so self-indulgent of what am I going to say? How am I going to present? Will this person like me? Will this stranger that I don't know anything about, will they like me? For me, a big switch in my mentality and approach was, let me just go into this and learn as much as I can about them to see if I want to go on a second date with them. And then with that mentality, it took so much pressure off of me, because it wasn't so much about my sense of worthiness or attractiveness to a stranger. It was, am I interested in this person? How much information can I gather? So of course, I'm going to pay attention to how they present physically, how they dress, their grooming and things like that. That says a lot about that person. But I'm also going to be asking them questions about their interests and try to get a sense of their heart and their dreams and their life experiences and so on. Because for me, it's, is this someone that I want to continue investing my time in, and being less concerned with the flip? If they're not interested, they'll tell me. But perhaps that just wasn't a good fit. But for me, when that became clearer, I felt so much less pressure, because ultimately, if we just give all of our power away to a stranger and let them dictate if they're attracted to us or not, we lose control, and then we're susceptible to the vulnerability of being rejected outright.
That's a great shift in perspective that I think might be helpful in not just dating situations, but like, I don't know, potential interviews or really wherever else you might find yourself. And it's actually interesting how similar those things are, like going on a date and, getting a job interview. Maybe, Erica, it'd be good to ask for maybe some of your perspectives on how to maybe prevent that from completely dominating like a date. You want a date to be fun and not just like a job interview.
Yeah. So one of the ways that I tell my clients to do that is I tell them repeatedly, and I make them Zoom with me all the time so they get comfortable with it, is to set up the Zoom meeting before going on your date, so that when you finally do go on a date, maybe you've gone through 5 Zoom dates with different people, but by the time you get to the actual date with somebody that you would be willing to pay for on that first date, because you've already had that connection, then you can do something fun like an activities date. Like, why would you go grab a coffee for a first date? Don't do that. No. Go to a Zoom, have a Zoom meeting, talk for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. And if that person's rad and you're like, man, I would totally buy this person a meal, or I'd want to go bowling with them, or I'd want to go to this random, whatever, a random thing to go do, like an activity date, that kind of like bumps up that timeline. Because usually your first date, when you meet somebody online, it's like you go get coffee or a beer, or you just hook up, whichever. No judgment, support it. But like, once you've already pushed past that first one, you turn that first date into a Zoom, then your second date gets to be your activity date. And that's where you get to have fun and actually create memories with somebody and then see how they interact with things. And I think that is significantly more beneficial. And I think that's something that has turned around because of the pandemic, because that was not occurring pre-pandemic, but it definitely did start in the midst of the pandemic.
Yeah, I think the pandemic changed things for the first date. I feel like it was like, hey, instead of going to the bar, which we can't go to, we can't go into a restaurant. You want to go for a walk? You want to go for a walk around the city? You want to go to the lake? We could go there. You want to like things definitely changed. And you're totally right about like making profile. I've helped out so many of my friends when they're like, oh, I'm single now. Should I get on the Tinder thing? And then they show me the thing. I'm like, absolutely not. Give me your phone. Delete this whole shit. Go pose. I'm going to take pictures. Let's go for a walk. I'll take a picture. But like there is so much to be said about how you come across on your like not only dating profiles, but like social media profiles, right? Like we all have this like facade of like who we are on these things, but your dating app should like totally be you. I always try to take pictures of my friends when they're acting all serious and mean mug, and I'm like, No, smile. Why are you like, what are you doing? Smile.
The
But
trick is to crack a dirty joke when that
of
happens,
course.
and you will get their most honest reaction. It's one of my favorite things to do.
and like definitely like dating. I've used Tinder quite a lot. Again, it's probably like the number one app of success, I guess, after POF years ago. But I've now met like my own partner on Tinder, maybe like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So it's like you can use this to create just real relationships and someone that is like, you know, in my life, that's a big part of my life. But before that, like you could be also messaging with someone and like, hey, I don't want to FaceTime you, but it seems like we're, I don't know, 0.3 kilometers away. Let's go meet right now and like see what it's like for a walk or for anything, right? And a lot of the times, some people weren't looking for relationships. Where you know, a woman would be like, hey, actually, you're really cool. I'm out of a relationship. Do you want to just come over and watch a movie? And I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like a great first date. Let's do that instead. And then I already know like kind of how it is where you can kind of gauge from talking to someone what maybe they're interested in, but some people maybe don't want to really say what they're interested in, right? Like say this guy gets out of a relationship and he knows he just needs to see the world a little bit. He needs to explore.
Oh, to bone it out, been there.
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. Like he needs to get it out. You know what I mean? He needs to get out of his system. The best way to get over someone is to get on top of someone else. So, you know, you should go out and sow your oats regardless. So there are some times where people need to go and do that. And I think people need to do that to learn a bit about themselves before maybe even getting into like relationships and stuff. I'm not saying everyone go be a slut, everyone, but fuck, you probably
No, you should be a slut.
You should
be
like
a
legit.
Slut.
Like sorry, like there's so many people that are like, oh, now I'm with my high school sweetheart and all this stuff. I'm like you didn't explore the world, in my opinion. Like there's a lot of things out there, and Tinder and these websites are like this literal spark. That's why they call it Tinder, that can like change your life. There's a catalog of people on your phone that you can decide whether or not, you know, you want to talk to and meet and stuff. And the internet, it's a glorious, what a time to be alive, really.
It's great. Well, and I think
Truly.
one of the greatest things, I was going to say, one of the greatest things too with my clients, my bad, is that is one of the first questions I ask them. What are you genuinely looking for? Are you looking for a relationship? Are you looking for just a hookup? Are you looking to date around and maybe have the potential of things? And it was really interesting too, because I was in I am in the position of people paying me to do this. Guys are more likely to be honest with it. And so when I go through and write their profiles, I write that in. Like there are just as many men out there as women who want just hookups, right? All of those things are completely reasonable. You can want to hook up. You can just want to date casually around. You could be looking for your partner, but you need to state that in your profile. That's it. It's so simple. Like state what you want. If you want to date around, awesome. If you want to hook up all the time, great. Every woman reads your profile. Every woman. But every guy's profile says, if you could read this stuff, I'm 5'2", like it matters. Like it's so common.
Wait,
like,
hold on. Do we need to know the answer, a yes or no answer right here, right now? Do men should they put their height on their Tinder profile?
100%, always.
Right. Yes. Jordan, if there's any time to hit that cowbell, you need to hit it right now.
Fuck you guys. I didn't put my height.
That's because you're like 5'2". I don't know.
Jordan's like 5'2". I love you, Jordan. So I completely agree and I understand, but here's why he's so mad to hit that bell. More cowbell. Here's the reason why. Statistically speaking, men are taller than women, right? But Jordan, you as a 5'2" man, would you want to be dating a 5'9" woman?
First of all, nothing wrong with that, but I'm like 5'7". Come on, people.
I know you're my height. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just messing with you. What was that? You were 4'9"?
Yeah, and my penis is really small.
I know.
There are
under 6 feet. That's sweeter than me.
This is going way off.
All the way.
There have been a few times that women have asked my height. That first girl I went on a date with that I mentioned from Tinder, she asked me, hey, by the way, I'm just curious, how tall are you? So clearly that was important enough for her to know beforehand for whatever reason. So I was honest. That was not a big deal to me. I really appreciate what you were sharing about just a baseline level of communication. Whatever you're looking for is fine. Did I specifically write on my profile that this is what I'm looking for? No, but I communicated that early on because I ended up in a romantic relationship. I was happy. I wanted that, but I wanted it with the right person. I hooked up with many other women. I became friends with other women because where I was for many years was I was just open to connecting with different people and seeing what came of it based on the feeling in the moment. But I would always try my best to communicate it. Oftentimes, if a date would end, I wouldn't want to lie and be like, this was awesome, I'd love to do it again, and then just ghost them. Oftentimes, I would say, hey, this was a good time. I'm not necessarily feeling like a romantic connection, but it was great to meet you. Sometimes I could see in a woman's face that they felt hurt and rejected, and that didn't feel good for me to do, but I also didn't want to outright lie to them. There were more women who said, I appreciate you being upfront and respect for telling me how you really feel. I think honesty in most cases is the best policy, but that starts within ourselves and actually getting clear on what are we looking for and giving ourselves permission to feel that and to allow that if that's what we want. But we can't just fucking objectify people and use people. We got to communicate where we're at with them.
Well, Jordan brings up an interesting topic. Is there an expected etiquette when it comes to ending, perhaps, a relationship, no matter how brief? And is that something you discuss with your clients, Erica?
Oh, absolutely. I tell them that if they ghost anybody, all you have to do is say, hey, thanks so much. I had a really good time. I'm just not feeling it. That's all you have to say. Because what you think is hurting them more because you have to face the feelings that you have and tell somebody that is actually more hurtful, right? Like I jokingly said, that's so jokingly, kind of. I've been like, I will burn your house down if you ghost somebody after I did all of this to your profile. I will burn it to the ground. And guess what? They got really good. I also, though, for my clients, I write them a few intro messages that they can send. And I also write them a few messages if they're just not feeling somebody that they can literally copy and paste it and send it off to somebody. Be like, thanks so much. I'm just not interested. I hope you find what you're looking for. That's it. Like, it's so simple to just communicate what you want or what you don't want. And it's being treated as if that's not what we should do and we should hide who we are. No, be vocal about who you are. Be vocal about what you want. Be vocal about what you want when you're dating. Be vocal that you don't want something or you do want something. It's so simple. It's baseline communication. And that is literally with my clients, what I teach them is it's not a big deal. Women literally don't care. And it's actually more hurtful to ghost because then they're inside their head, like, what did I do wrong? What did I do? This. And it could be something as simple as I was just not into it, right? I tell people all the time when I'm not into them, it's gotten more fun. But it was difficult at first.
I was totally guilty of doing that, especially like early 20s when I was just like kind of living my best hippie life. I definitely like would ghost people or even more hurtful would be even what I call the slow ghost. Is where you like you give them some breadcrumbs, you give them some things, but they you make them get the hint like you're not interested. And I realize that now as an older guy, I'm like, oh, I was pretty much an asshole. I could have definitely just went like bullet points here. Sorry, like not interested. But I definitely did use the ghosting route when I was in my early 20s, and because of that, it has caused me some like chaos because, like you said, it can make people not think properly, like what's going on here. So I've had like some crazy encounters where like, I've maybe ghosted people and I know now that it is wrong, but at the time they like took it to heart, or maybe they didn't try to burn my house down, but they'd show up at my house. I'd have to run away on my bike to get away from people, or like, block people's numbers because they were calling me like 20 times in the middle of the night and stuff like that. Like it's bad. And I know that now as like an adult, but I know that people definitely do it out there. And I'm saying, don't do it. All you need to do is like what you said, Erica, is just leave a message and say like, hey, sorry, it's not feeling it. because it's so mean to just do that to someone. Definitely.
At this point, we want to open it up to some phone calls. And Erica, do you have some time to perhaps stick around if people have some
totally.
questions? Okay, if you don't, just let us know. Not a problem at all. But if you have a question in the Zoom room, just simply raise your hand in the Zoom chat. And if you would like to remain anonymous for a show like this, you could just DM me or just maybe change your name in the Zoom if you want. But yeah, where can actually people maybe find some of your work, Erica, if people wanted to?
So actually what I do is I treat my work more like Hitch, where it's all by word of mouth. I used to have social media for it, and I realized that feels kind of creepy and gross. So now it's based off of clients that I've already had recommending other people. But I can easily give my email to probably Jordan. He has it, and then he can put it in the comments so people, if they want to ask questions or whatever, I do profile rehabs for people in DC and Maryland. So those are my two spots.
I'm actually curious. Do you have any female clients?
Oh yeah. I had one female client. She was only looking for hookups. She's a chunkier lady, but she's beautiful and she is not photogenic. And we had some fun photo shoots with like different, like one was a popsicle photo shoot, one was like a sucker. We were doing very phallic-y photo shoots because all she wanted was hookups, and it was effing hilarious. It was one of my favorite photo shoots to like. She'd be like, "Oh, here's me licking a milk." Yes. Oh my God, yeah. Do you guys know how simple men are? It was like she went for me, and like I never get people to match with me to like, is this what it's like? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's what I get online because I got this. I got a lot of things going on for me. So she got that replication, and it was effing hilarious. And her current hookup person is way hotter than anything I would have anticipated. So yes, is the quick answer.
You had mentioned like recommending like maybe some books to some of your clients. I'm kind of curious, especially when it comes to something like this. For me, like a big breakthrough was just like working on my inner confidence and things like that. Are there certain like things you would recommend maybe to our audience?
Oh yeah, sure. So the one main book that I highly recommend. So there's a podcast that I recommend. It's called Guys We Fucked. It's amazing. It's two comedians. They're a delight. I think they're like the #1 rated female podcast, and they have been for years. Now they're behind a paywall, but you still can get their first 8 seasons. And that particular podcast really, it shows you the amount of things that women are going through, from dating to sexual assault to dealing with therapy to all those things. So I offer that. And then on the flip of that is, and for those of you who have been on Bumble recently, it's the 5 love languages, right? Like that's a very simple book that everyone should read. I don't think of it as science, but I think it's very good for, and there's a bunch of like, there's a bunch of like hokey religious aspects to it. However, the baseline of understanding like, hey, I can show love in different ways, whether it's acts of service or physical touch or just being around, things like that. And it kind of breaks that all down. And those two things have genuinely, it's amazing to hear people read that book and listen to those podcasts and say like the amount that they've evolved. And how much that has helped them date, especially for the fact that if that podcast is the #1 rated podcast by women, then women are listening to it. And same with the book, right? Like you look at that book and on Bumble, it says, what's your love language? So with that, just by offering those two things that are very female driven that we like to talk about, it gives you a talking point in relationships.
The love languages like concept, I mean, it's helpful not just in dating, but really I would say in all forms of relationship. Again, so for me, again, dating was like a really great period of growth where you can learn a whole lot, not just about the people you're trying to date, but really about yourself. We do have some phone calls, and I think we're going to start off here with Maddie B. Maddie B, yes. Welcome to the show.
Oh, Jordan, Way, Braden, Erica, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Maddie B.
Hello. So yeah, this is topic I'm fairly comfortable talking about, so I'll do the best I can here. Dating hasn't really been one of those things for me. In high school, I never went to really any like house parties, so I kind of hung out with my friends. We did kind of like just hung out at their house and kind of just like same with Wade did, right? We kind of did our own thing, and
Feel you, man. Yeah.
It's kind of wasn't
Same.
when we talk about that, when we talk about that way, I was like, oh my gosh, that was me, and now I'm in school, like, that was exactly me, right?
Hey, I
too.
had great times with my friends. So
Oh no, it was a blast. Oh, it was the best. And then as soon as I got into kind of college, kind of started going out to bars more and this and that. I guess my confidence wasn't very high. I was comfortable talking to my guy friends than any girls around. Even when I did, it just it was kind of casual, but like kind of just a couple quick mini conversation, then it kind of ended like that. Never went really too far in anything, and then when you almost like feel defeated before you go actually talk to somebody, because you're kind of like I go like even when I never have the confidence to go up and like someone's can I buy you a drink or can I this or hey even some kind of like like a funny break the ice icebreaker comment, like I could I have a bit of a studying problem, like not like only that happens when I get nervous. So, and when I get nervous, it's kind of everything goes to shit. And so about like overcoming that has been pretty difficult for me.
you're doing great
and then-
right now, by the way.
Okay,
Like, you're the
thank you.
first caller, and
Okay.
that's like not easy.
Oh, yeah, Matty
Because
B.
I know a lot of people are nervous maybe about raising their hands. and you're the
Yeah.
first,
So I mean,
just
like,
kick an
honestly,
ass.
like when you first mentioned this dating thing, I was like the whole month I was like, no, do I call in? Do I not? How far do I go? Like, you just, what I mean? So.
But Matty
then
B,
I
sorry,
kinda-
Matty B, but Matty, like you're totally right. It's so difficult, not even in the world of trying to talk to girls, but talking to people in general can be such a like I'm someone who hosts podcasts and stuff, but you wouldn't know. I have crazy anxiety, man. Like trying to meet new people can be really hard. And especially when you're trying to talk to people, when you're trying to have that, like you said, icebreakers to girls in bars and stuff, it's totally difficult. Erica, what would you say is like some advice to that, if any?
I would say be open about it. Keep in mind, like, I'm cute, right? I'm cute. I do this for a living where I like help people redo their profiles. I didn't start dating until I was 20. I had a stutter my entire life. I was the fat girl that got made fun of in high school my whole life, right? There is a point where and now I also like sell clothing and stuff, whichever. But one of the biggest things that I sell is a bag that says I came, I saw, I made it awkward. So you being who you are is not a negative thing. And it's one of those, like, as you get older, I don't know your age or your comfort level with being a human being, but like it gets better for the most part. Like once you get more confident, and if you're terrified of your stutter, oh my God, there are so many people out there that stutter. I stutter. I literally stutter all of the time. Thankfully, I'm not right now. It's just a thing. But that's relatable, right? Like being genuine about it and not being negative about that's who you are, right? Like my best friend has autism. One of my best friends. And that is just who she is. And once you have confidence and conviction in who you are, it helps. It helps a lot. But I also say that, and I'm terrified to go up to people in real life and talk to them. I still abide by the gender norms of that. Like if somebody wants to talk to me, they should do it first. But it's learning how to be comfortable in who you are, because there are people, all women, there are people who have stuttered. There are people that have their awkward moments, and that actually makes you more relatable, not you trying to present as something other than who you are. The whole point is to show who you are so that the person who is like you can find you. And if you're terrified to be who you are, then how are you going to find somebody that it gets who you are as a human?
Well said.
Does that make sense?
Very well
yeah.
said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well said.
I mean, to tie it back to the world of wrestling, I mean, I find the biggest baby faces aren't the guys who are like good looking, like muscle bound, like perfect in every way. It's the guys that have some imperfection, that have some
Underdogs.
vulnerability, the underdogs, and Matty B, I think you'd be the biggest baby face in the room right
Oh,
now.
I would be. No doubt. It'll be easy. It'd be easy.
Totally.
No, because even like with regarding that, like, I'm kind of have a small circle of people that I usually kind of go for, kind of go to kind of thing. Like I've only had like my life only had I've had one job, and I'm actually going for an interview because I recently moved to Halifax. So it's a pretty big change for me for that. And I have an interview tomorrow, which I'm pretty nervous about, but at the same time, I'm confident because that's kind of like I'm really good with kids, especially little ones, and I'm interviewing for a daycare tomorrow, and that's kind of like one of my major skills that I'm like really good at. I'm still nervous as hell because like this is new people, a new city, like new area, like people I don't know, so. It's kind of like all kind of coming into one right now. And so that's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Well,
best of luck to you, Maddie.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
And it's really exciting because you get a whole group of single moms
Fuck yeah, Maddie.
at your disposal as you being a
it.
caregiver. Just letting you know.
That's it. Oh, for sure. I hear that one. No,
Shout out single moms, Maddie B. Shout out single moms.
That's it.
They need love too.
They're so good.
No, that's it. And oh my gosh, so very true on that one. Yes,
unsingle moms, Maddie B. Just moms, Maddie B.
That's it. There you go. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Braden, that's hilarious. And yeah, so it's the biggest thing is just more so of because I didn't want to Bumble, and it's been okay. Like I've had a couple matches here and there, like quick conversations, but it's never really gotten far. I used to use Tinder, but again, I used it when there was a bunch of like bots on there and fake counts. So I may try to go back on there and see how that goes. Because like I said, I'm not a big picture guy. So like, I'm trying to kind of work on that too, to kind of take like better pictures of myself and writing like the right profile. Cause like, I'll write, do you write a long one or short one? Are these the right words? What do I say in it? Like, is this, I tinker with it all the time. I'm like, oh, is this, am I doing something wrong? Like, all that kind of stuff. Right. And, what was I going to say also, like last in July, and the Periscope streaming app, I met this one girl, that I still talk with on Instagram. She was in California. She's like 27 now. And it's we're like like a super like with a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. No, it's more of like an open relationship kind of thing. And somehow, some way, I am incredibly comfortable with her. Like we'll FaceTime at night, maybe like once a week or a couple times a week, or and then might take a break for a couple of weeks and then do it again for a bit. And for some reason, when I talk to her, it's like all my worries go away. I can I don't stutter, I can talk freely, and I'm not sure how, it's hard to explain. I wish I could do that with everybody, but with her, it just seems like it's, I don't know, something works. I mean, again, she's in California. So I'm hoping to go meet her one day, but it's you just don't know with that kind of thing. Right. But it's just funny how, that kind of just, I'm a different person when talking to her. Like, I'm like exactly myself, like 100% of the time. So anyways, that's kind of like, I'm kind of rambling on, I apologize, but.
No.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, not at all.
And
appreciate it, man.
Have you considered the fact that she is across country and dating somebody else, it takes off the pressure of you of actually trying to date? Because if she was ever like, I'm not interested anymore, you would have no anger or aggression or feel of rejection because she's so far away and she's already dating somebody else. Like that is I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, she's single right now, but like I said, if she were to date somebody, like I'd be like, okay, like or she said to me like, you go date somebody, like it's perfectly fine. So we have that type of relationship where it's like either or, it's totally fine with each other, right? So, but it's just funny how just like I'm able to and then so I just kind of work on that. I just gotta like use that as a way to kind of expand my kind of like my exact word term I can think of, but it's like use that as a way to kind of meet other people kind of thing.
And from Periscope? From Periscope?
Yeah, so it was funny.
No, cheeky Maddie B.
No, because so it was funny because in the pandemic, I find something to do, whatever. And so I was watching this this Australian man, probably in his late 40s, and he lived in the UK. So we'd go for a morning walk. So it'd be midnight and Eastern time, and then he'd 6 a.m. his time, and it's hilarious guy. And I'd write comments or whatever, and people write comments, right? And like I just noticed she went by name Kitty. So I'm like, okay. And then I was kind of started, we kind of like, started, or kind of, we were, I guess, in the chat, we kind of, we're chat amongst each other kind of thing, whatever. And then all of a sudden kind of went from like, kind of get, we start, became friends on Instagram, then we start chat on there. And then it became, can we do Instagram, can we do a FaceTime? And then it kind of went on from there. So it's kind of funny how stuff works out. So
I'm happy for you, Maddie B. That's awesome. That you've also like now you've started talking to someone in a relationship, whether it be in person or via like long distance. But you said it yourself that you start to feel like yourself. You start to feel comfortable. So yeah, I feel like down the line, the Maddie B who's moving to the new city with the new job, like meeting people that make you feel that way will continue to happen, my friend.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing.
I appreciate this, guys. This is, it's kind of, I said, this is a very hard topic for me to talk about, but I felt very comfortable. And again, thank you guys. I really appreciate everything. So
you helped us break the seal. So thank you very much, Matt.
Matty B uses pictures of our upNXT hoodie on his Tinder profile. So
wow.
That'll definitely help over in Halifax. Maybe we have some listeners out there.
All right, we actually have quite a few calls here, so we go up next to our next caller, and that is Tony. Tony, how you doing?
Hi, how's everyone?
Hey, doing pretty well.
Tony?
Hey, Tony.
Hi, thanks so far. It's been great so far. I'm delighted that I get to kind of phone in. It's been a while since the hangout's been on, so over here in Ireland with the time difference, it's great to speak to everyone for a while. And best of luck to Matt on the interview tomorrow. Hope it goes well for you, man. I suppose like just for myself in terms of dating, for the most part, in most aspects of life, I'd be comfortable enough and confident enough. Like I play music in a few bands and I do a bit of stand up around town and stuff. But then just with dating, it's always been something that kind of, I don't know, kills me a bit. And then, I don't know, I think it's like I have a daughter, I have a 7-year-old daughter. So I don't know, I feel like sometimes I feel like people have an assumption about like, oh, is there going to be like baby mama drama or something like that, which isn't the case. Like I'm very lucky in that regard that I get along really well with my daughter's mother, but it's just a weird one. I think it might be something in my own head that I'm putting my own insecurities about it on other people, and not ideal, really.
So you're a single parent trying to date, and you're feeling maybe some friction with that, or at least personally you might.
Yeah, and it's nothing like I'm a completely proud parent and I love my daughter more than anything. But I don't know. I think because I have had a few experiences where people get kind of freaked out by it, especially online dating. Because I was a bit kind of hesitant to put it on any profiles before because I didn't want assumptions being made. And then when I did put it on that I had a child, I did find that there was a lot less traffic coming up my way, let's say. So I think that kind of, I don't know, perpetuated it in my own mind. But I don't know, I live in my head a lot.
Could you think of it as a different way? Right? Like you are a father. You cannot change that about yourself. That was a life thing that has occurred to you. And that's a big deal. So why would you want to waste your time on people who cannot and will not date a father? Right?
Exactly,
like there are plenty of people that are more than happily. I have dated fathers. I've dated non-fathers. I am personally and intentionally someone who did not have children. Am I morally opposed to dating a dad? No. Is it a prime objective? No. Like, I like my life. It's awesome. However, it's not a deal breaker, and it is a deal breaker for some. It's the same thing as with listing your height, right? Like if somebody is only dating people that are 6 feet tall, list your height so that you don't have to waste your time messaging that person. And just because there are less out there, that honestly makes it better for you, because then you have to swipe less to find somebody who you might have more things in common with. Think of it as a positive, not a negative. You shouldn't be matching with everybody. That's gross. You should be genuinely looking for people who want to be with you. And you being a dad is something you cannot change. So state it. State your height, state your job, state if you're a father or not. And in terms of like the baby mama drama, I guess maybe it depends on your age, but women in their 30s and especially late 30s, we just assume. And there are women out there who are like, I absolutely do not want to have kids in my life. And that's great. So you just saved both of your times with that. Why would you want to invest in somebody who cannot invest in you fully?
Sure. Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense, really. And that's, I've had friends say the same thing as well. So, no, it does make sense. It's, I don't know.
It's like a filter.
Yeah. I suppose so.
Is there dating apps for like single parents? Like, have you met someone who, also has kids or something? I'm thinking like Brady Bunch scenario here or whatever, but like there must be apps for that, right? Like
literally all the apps are flooded with single moms. You can go on any of them.
Yeah.
And honestly, you might do better on a Bumble versus a Tinder, because Bumble women have to message first, and like single moms do not have time to mess around. So if you're ready for something where they can just be very upfront and forward with you, because that's what they're going to be, because they don't have time to parent you, then that's great. That's awesome. Like that's what internet dating should be. It should be less the negative that I don't have everybody matching me, I'm not amazing, and be more, let's figure out how to hone it down so I don't waste my time on dates where I can actually find people that I have something in common with.
Yes, sure. Like in the same way you can choose which streaming sites you subscribe to, you can streamline your kind of dating field as such, you can kind of narrow it down. I mean, people like myself and Jordan, 5'7" guys, we got to stick together on this one. So we're fighting the good fight.
I'm not going to lie. I totally have friends who are literally, they say, under 6 feet, the sweeter the meat. And she means it. She's like, give me all of those 5'7" honeys. She goes, because all the women chasing after a 6 foot man thinking that they got something to prove in their pants. It's not true. It's all the 5'7s with BDE. Like it is, there's something to be said, and you can find it, and women we like sniff it out. We know.
Tony, you said you're a stand-up comedian, Tony?
Yeah. Well, I try.
Well,
that's amazing.
Hold up. The fact that you try, I can't think of anything that would feel more vulnerable, because that is something where you are actually dependent on the response of an audience for it to be perhaps deemed successful or not. Like if you're able to do that, to me, that's a fucking superpower.
It's do you know what it is? Because like I played music for so long, and I found regardless of, you could be playing the shittest song that anyone's ever heard, and just out of politeness, people are going to applaud at the end. Like if you're a support band or if you're just playing an open mic, people are going to applaud. Whereas with comedy, people don't really do sympathy laughs. Like it's an immediate response, and there's nothing that you can't fault that. You can't fake that. Sorry. And so I just say like it's immediate gratification. Maybe that says more about me than anything else.
But just the fact that you have the stomach to go do it, to me, I admire that. I'm also a musician, so perhaps a way in which I sometimes approach not only dating, but just socializing in general, which may resonate with you, is like, we don't know what's going to happen. So it's like when you're jamming with other musicians, you just kind of show up, you speak in your voice and through your instrument, and you're doing it in a way that is trying to be collaborative with other people. But like, if you're jamming with other people and it's not going well, like that doesn't mean that you're necessarily a bad musician or the other person is. Just sometimes people aren't a great fit for each other, and that's fine.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
And also keep in mind that majority of women all have a crush on Jack Black. So if you're a comedian, there is a reason why comedians have a huge following, like huge, because they're funny, because they can talk in public, because they can do those things. So if you need to, the first few times that you like approach somebody or talk to somebody when you're not feeling confident, put on that emotion and that feeling that you have when you're on stage, and do that with a woman. Approach her like that.
Isn't that something we want? Like for me personally, I grew up kind of the chubby kid who was funny, and that's just something I've coasted on forever. I think I can't believe I'm going to quote Marilyn Monroe, but she said, if you can make a woman laugh, you can make her do anything. If you're funny, that's it. You could be. Jack Black is definitely a cute dad bod kind of guy, but there's definitely like comedians out there that like aren't really good looking, that like are super funny. So instantly that like attract, like for me personally, if I'm meeting someone in my relationship, I need them to have a sense of humor, probably over like, obviously I'll be completely honest and shallow. Looks humor. That's all. Like that's the first two things, and that's what I'm looking for here. And like if I can get along and I can crack a really really dark joke, and we can get along, we're good. And Tony, like doing comedy, like you must be able to meet people and use that like to talk to people, because that's more ballsier than going up to talk to girls in bars, like to do a set or something. So good on you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks again for this.
Yeah, good luck. Shout out single dads out there. Dads all the way.
Thank you very much, Tony. Let's go up next to our next caller in New Jersey. Brandon. Oh, did I just drop you, Brandon? Oops.
Yep.
Sorry, I hit a wrong button. Brandon, are you there?
Hello? Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I was in between stops. I'm sorry. How are you?
Doing great.
We're good, Brandon.
Oh man, great to see you guys. Interesting topic. I I used to like I used to like be, well, I still am to an extent. Like I'm pretty introverted, especially coming off stuff in my personal life, like being married and whatnot, and that ended badly and whatnot. And but before that, like I used to be to myself and very shy and whatnot, and like I sort of am still. And I started like, I remember when I was in junior college, and like I used to like be afraid to express myself, like joking around and whatnot, like being a class clown. I didn't want to do that. I thought there'd be ramifications on that shit and stuff like that. So we're in the class, and I noticed something in the subject during the class that was funny, and I was like, you know what? Let me pop the class and see if this will go over. This has to do with dating, by the way, and whatnot. So I'll get to the point. So I said the joke, and everybody laughed, and I was like, you know what? Why am I afraid to be this introverted person? I should open myself to more and just be myself. And that led to like starting using dating apps and trying to talk to people. Like MSN Messenger was a hero of mine. I said that in the chat, but I've had a lot of successful encounters and some catfish encounters with that. But I mean, like I'm like, yeah, you can't live in fear. You live one life, and like you gotta like, you know, have fun. I mean, and try, and that's what I mean, it's not gonna be successful all the time, but I mean, it's 50-50 booking. You're either gonna get over or you're not gonna get over, and then you just try again. And the next part is to try to cash in, doing it in person, because I'm still kind of shy when it comes to that. Like I don't have a good opening line when it comes to that. I mean that's the hard part for me, and I did a good opener. You know what I'm saying?
Well, are you 5'7"?
Do not use that as an opener.
That's fun. That's the fun thing about swiping left and right. Like you see the profile is like, oh, so swipe left if you're 6'2", if you're not 6'2", like it's like a carnival ride or something like that. Like
yeah. They're just saving you the effort. Like they're just saving you the effort. Don't invest in that.
I hit right just for fun to see what happens. Like,
but Brandon, you touched on something really valuable that goes beyond dating, and that's just anytime we feel like fear or anxiety or just a vulnerability about doing something that ultimately we feel pulled to do for whatever reason, whether it's dating or asking for a job or sharing something that you feel with someone else. Like that shit is hard. It's scary, and we feel vulnerable because we create a possibility in which we can get a reaction or response that we're not hoping to get. But you said like YOLO, and that's the truth. We are going to die. And if you think real big picture, we're all going to die relatively soon. So the times in which I've been terrified because I was asking for something I desired most, I would just think to myself and say to myself, like, I'm going to die. It can't be worse than that. And I always know that even in rejection, on the back end of the experience, I'll always feel better about myself for backing myself and asking for what I want.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments. I remember going up to a girl like at the mall and whatnot a couple like years ago, and like I noticed a vibe between us, but I didn't know what to do, and I just started thinking to myself. I kept on pacing back and forth in the store. I was like, should I approach this chick? I don't know what to do. I kept on making awkward passes. Like I was on the freeway or whatnot, and I started like sweating profusely through my shirt. So I went up to her and I said, "What's up?" And first time in a long time. I didn't say that, but I started rapping her in my head, and she started rapping back, and I was like, you know what? This isn't bad. Like, yeah, like she's talking back. She's the rapport is going well and whatnot. And ultimately, she said that she was with someone, but she appreciated it. And when I was like, you know what? It's not the end of the world. Just get back and try it again. Can I share one thing with you on my MSN Messenger story real quick though?
Yes, please.
All right, so I mean, if anyone, I don't know if you're young enough, or might be a young crowd, but like MSN Messenger was like just like AIM chat and whatnot. But like, you know, there's some sections where you can, you know, talk to chicks and whatnot. So I was talking to this woman, and like she was like rapping back and whatnot, and the opening monologue was ASL.
That's what I do in the upNXT Twitch stream.
Every fucking Twitch stream, this guy's asking people ASL, which is what does that mean, Jordan?
What does that mean?
Age, sex, location.
Come on, what are we new?
Yeah, or new.
What we did in 1996 AOL chat rooms.
Damn right.
Oh, MSN Messenger.
No, I was a pastor's kid. Didn't do any of that.
So like,
I'm sorry.
She responded. I'm sorry. She responded back. It was at an adequate location, like not too far from where I was living. and I was like, you know, let's meet up. And she told me her age, and she showed me a picture. It looked legitimate. I was like, you know what? Let's be safe. Let's meet somewhere. Let's meet at a McDonald's parking lot. So we met up. Yes, that's safe.
Parking lot.
Yeah. So we met up, and I was like, well, I guess we're here. You're not who you say you are. And she was not. She told me her age, and she was 62 years old.
Oh my God!
You're making this
New
up.
Jersey catfish.
Bullshit.
And I was 21. I was like, you don't look 34. In my head, I said that. I didn't insult her, and I was like, hey, we're here, so let's have fun and whatnot.
So how was it?
It was great.
Would you buy her a Big Mac and a Happy Meal toy?
It was before there was 24/7 McDonald's, and they closed at 10. So we met up at like 11:30.
Did she take out her dentures?
I have no comment on that, but
she did.
She did. She totally did. You got a gummer, dude. You did. Don't lie to us.
But it was fun, and I advocate to anyone to. I mean, like you can hook up with. I mean, I've hooked up with a chick before from Words of Friends.
Stop nudging me on there, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless, and you know, you live one life and live it up and have fun and whatnot. So that's all I got. Way, guys, I love you guys. Way, I love you, man. I'll talk to you later. Come on.
Wow, I can't believe he was so honest with the story about being catfished, but he still went through with it. I kind of respect him even more now.
Amazing.
Like, yeah, definitely.
All right, up next we go to Jake. Jake, are you there?
Good afternoon, guys. Man, how can I follow what Brandon just said there?
I don't know. Have you ever hooked up with an 80-year-old?
No, I haven't. So
okay. I don't know if we can top
62. Okay.
I don't know what upper age limit should go for, but no, it's whatever. But yeah, thank you guys so much for doing this. To give a little background on this, a couple of months ago, I actually like during a SmackDown review, during a wrestling review, I actually requested Way if this could be a possible
that is
topic on this.
Yes, you suggested it actually, Jake. So thank you for this.
Thank you so much. I didn't expect it to be this soon, actually, because I asked Way if this could be like a possible topic, because with my background, I'm currently trying to do the online dating thing. For me as a Christian, trying out ChristianMingle.com. One of the it can be it's a work in progress right now, but at times there can be some huge scammers once in a while. But for me personally, I've for me and myself, I've never really had a serious relationship. Growing up in high school, before I was founded in my faith journey, it's like it was basically just attending dances in high school, trying to fit in. When naturally I was just an introvert, being so introverted and shy, and just just being around like some negative influences, trying to give me advice on when I shouldn't have. Regarding how should I, approach women, approach girls during high school, and all that. And it was just like merely for physical attraction. And, looking back, I was like, it turned out to, it led to some toxic impulses at the end there. So I decided just to focus on myself, and just like evaluating my heart status on this type of thing, and just focus on what I'm doing and my identity. Forgive me if I'm bringing up my faith journey here, but just focusing on my identity in Christ. Because it's interesting because it's how should I say this? It really is helpful when I got saved. It was really great because I have an accountability partner in my small group in Bible study where I can just talk to him and just ask him the biggest life advices, where I can check my heart and my relationship with other people. And one of the biggest things is that I'm just so thankful for is like when I look for in a relationship is I don't want to just learning about this and reading more in scripture and reading the Bible more, reading the good word more, is that I don't want to be in a relationship where my ego gets in the way, because I've always had that issue, and where my heart is so impure and I might be leading into the wrong motives. And but yeah, I've because of that, and I've been so thankful for the Lord to being involved in such a community that can help me through that process. And I've gotten to know some great people in my Bible study. They're actually both guys and gals, and it really is impactful. It really is important when I look at this topic to, when I go out into the real world, is I make sure just pray to God that I make sure I guard my heart and make sure I have the right motives when trying to ask someone out, and all that. So that's something that I've been looking at this. So so that's why when I tried to talk to this to Way about having this as a possible topic, and I just want to open my story about that.
Well, thank you very much for sharing, Jake. Much appreciated, and all the best and luck for success in your particular
it's
journey.
something we haven't really talked on. Like I joked earlier about single parents dating apps. I know there's J Swipe. You just mentioned Christian Mingle. There's literally 420 dating apps that
420,
absolute wonders for me. I cannot recommend. Holy shit, but Jake, like that is something that is to you. Did you find that you use this app and you haven't had too much success from it, but you're in your own your own avenue where you're a religious man who's in this world where we just were talking about some people use this app to hook up when they're 62 or whatnot and stuff, but you're clearly using it for different things. And I think it shows again how crazy that the internet can be, that Christian Mingle is something that is hugely successful. My work has commercials for it. We also have commercials for silver dating, which is older generations and stuff like that. But I'm sure it will work. There's definitely other things. One of my best friends was in his early 20s, and he converted to being a Mormon. And then he met his partner, and she then converted for him. And then they literally got married very, very kind of quickly. Hosting a Mormon wedding was very, very difficult for me, because he was someone who had transitioned to being a Mormon, and specifically told me on the day of his wedding, don't mention anything in my past life that I had gotten into, because religious things and stuff like that. But yeah, it's actually kind of cool. Like no bones about it. It's actually kind of cool that there is some sort of dating app for a religious community there. I'm genuinely interested on what happens. You say there's a lot of like catfishing and stuff like that, but like, how does that, people aren't using that to hook up, I assume?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Like, just like, just some people to troll out there. Yeah. Some people for the reverse. But I recently found out that one of my friends from high school is a part of this, and gave me some good advice, and doing some, and it's like, for me, it's like finding a relationship where I can put God in the center, and the motivation is to just to recognize that if I just want to just rely rely on the Lord to just to motivate my heart, and just to keep my heart pure, because at times, like, I've always felt, at times, like, I'm still a sinful person, and at times, like, temptation always gets the best of me. But it's really great that I've gotten those accountability friends who always look out for me to do this. And I think an important thing is that sometimes we need to I know there's a lot of upright religious people saying that, it's, you have to be sexually pure and not to have sex before marriage. But I need to, like, what really a good reminder for myself is that I have to go to like the right mindset, because many of us are elevating virginity as this idol to be worshipped and all that. But really, it's like we have to because when in reality, there's a lot of virgins that I know, virgins, including myself, with such unpure hearts. And I just want to just let that out there. And it's really important to, really thankful to have those conversations, using those to, just to do that. So yeah, working out with that.
Jake, may I ask you a question? So I'm actually a pastor's kid from the Midwest. I don't know if you knew that about me, Jordan, but it's a thing. I went to religious school my whole life, almost went into seminary, except for my particular brand of religion to believe that women should be pastors. But there's one thing that I don't know if you're utilizing within your church. You're already in an organization where you believe strongly in your beliefs. Go find those little old ladies that are bored and want to set up everybody and be like, hey, I'm single. I'm obviously super religious. And they will literally just lob women at you who are in similar boats. They're already within your church organization, or they're somebody's niece or whatever. But like, you have a huge community there. And it's not just your people in your Bible study, but it's like the little old biddies that love setting people up. So use it. I would use that way more than christianmingle.com. Christian Mingle is a whole mix of different groups. You're already in a religious organization where you believe those things. So seek out the people in that, and don't be creepy about it. Right. But
yeah, absolutely.
Within that church, like you already have a smorgasbord. You just got to ask the elder women, and they will make it work. That's what they're there for. They love that crap.
Thank you very much for the call, Jake.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. God bless you guys.
Jake.
All right, our final call of the show goes to Blackwell. Blackwell, if you are there, please unmute yourself. And welcome to the Wellness Policy.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. That was a really nice story, Jake. Thanks for sharing. So talking through my story, so I am 33. I'm just getting back into dating. I've spent most of my life on long-term relationships, and I had a couple periods where I dated sort of serially, which I found just wasn't for me. It was a time in my life where I'm like, I'm young, I'm okay looking. I can probably date a lot of women. And I was like, oh yeah, I can. I'm like, oh, this sucks. I hate this. But it was something that I wanted to learn, right? And so as I've gotten older and I've dated more people, and I've kind of come to that point where I'm pretty confident in who I am and what I like and sort of what I'm looking for. It's really been interesting sort of seeing how different the people are that I date now versus the people that I dated in my early 20s and mid 20s. And it's just something that I don't really know how to phrase it, but it's sort of just like watching that evolution of the people that I date now versus who I dated back then. And like sort of like a lot of times when those people that I used to date kind of sort of reach back out, and you have that sort of awkward moment of like, oh no, honey, I'm not really interested, but best of luck, right? And it's really been interesting listening to everybody else's stories and sort of seeing the journeys that everybody else is going through. Because I think a lot of times in the dating world, it kind of feels isolating, where we're going through these experiences and it kind of feels like only you are going through this experience, or this thing is like entirely unique to you. And I think it's really nice to sort of have a space for all of us sort of share these experiences that we're going through. So it's not so isolating, right? So it's like, yeah, we're all sort of going through this space and sort of managing in different ways and looking for different things and kind of finding our way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, you know, at least for, I would say most of us, it's probably like when we talk to our own friends about our own dating experiences where we really kind of have that very communal experience. But, you know, like doing it with, I mean, not everybody has that circle of friends, first of all, and they might not necessarily relate to the experiences that you might. And, you know, hearing others' experiences from different parts of the world with completely different, maybe, or slightly different cultures that they've been brought up in is definitely a bit of an eye-opening experience for me right now. So thank you very much for sharing.
I think it's interesting what you shared about noticing the changes that you've undergone being reflected in who you're attracting and who you're attracted to now. I mean, ideally, as human beings, we evolve as we age. And with that, that means that the people that we would find attractive or the people that we're naturally attracting in our lives, like that should change with it. You know, inside game first, like what's happening on the outside often is a reflection of what's going on in the inside. So, you know, respect to someone like Jake, who has also taken time to work on his inside game and to get clearer on who he is, what feels good for him, because that's only going to create conditions where he is now going to be more in rhythm with things that, you know, feel better, feel more interesting, and feel more attractive to him. And this remains true for all of us if we actually take the responsibility to do the inside work. So I appreciate you bringing that up because it's something that I definitely relate to, and I think it's helpful for us to pay attention to these things.
Well, and if you don't mind me interjecting with a little bit, because I love talking, obviously. Another, I know you couldn't tell, les shock. Another great thing to help you feel like you're not isolated or alone with your dating experiences is get on TikTok. Get on the Dating in Your 30s TikTok. Hit those hashtags, and literally TikTok is set up to show you videos of people who are similarly to you. And the more you like a video on the topic of dating or ghosting or whatever, the more it's going to pop up. And the more that you see people that are going through your similar experiences, the more confidence you're going to have in what you're actually out there doing, because you're not alone. If you don't have a group of friends, even if you do have a group of friends, your group of friends are going to have a different perspective than you do, especially the more into your 30s you get, because you're going to get the people who have already been married or the people that have gone through terrible divorces and things like that. So the easiest way to do that, I mean, other than therapy, is genuinely get on TikTok. Get on TikTok, watch some dating videos, and just enjoy that. And that, I think, helps tremendously with people and their confidence and knowing that they're not alone, because you're not. Nobody's alone in this dating. It's awful. I literally redo people's dating profiles, and half the time I'd rather stab myself in the eye than date.
I thought TikTok was just for dancing.
Oh, no, it's so much better. It's like TikTok therapy. It's a delight. Highly suggest.
6-second therapy. Wow. Incredible.
Oh, they up the videos to 3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Everybody's looking for different things though. Like from all the different callers here, there's so many different people that want different things. And like Erica was saying with the dating apps, it's like, it's better to just say right out what you want. I'm I'm 6'1". Therefore, if you're looking for someone who's taller than me, like don't talk with me because I know that's not your preference. I write down when I used to do Tinder, I used to put always the same thing in my profiles, like little quirks and things like that. I mentioned I like karaoke. I would put that in there. If they fucking hate karaoke, they probably won't want to talk to me. And that's okay. Cause then I know we will probably want to get along and stuff like that. But then it goes to like different aspects because like Brandon is out there getting like catfished years ago from Words with Friends or something like that. And it's like his normal thing is like MSN Messenger. Sorry. Right. It's like he was working up to like talk to people. And then maybe it starts to feel good. Even like talking to someone on the street, if they ask you, hey, you got a lighter, and then you kind of share a moment with someone, it kind of makes you feel good. Even if, you didn't get their number, you'll never see them again, but you had like a little, like maybe a little flirtiness or something like that. It makes you kind of feel good. So like everyone's got their different preferences of what makes them feel comfortable. It's the same with Jake as well. Like someone in a religious kind of aspect or community, someone like myself, I don't drive, but I know that I would need to test out a car before I take it off the lot and move in with it, if you know what I mean. So it's like everyone's got different kind of things that they're looking for, but I feel like there's a similar thread that everyone's got to kind of make themselves feel comfortable before you kind of do it, or along trust the process. Let's go with that.
Lovely advice from everybody in the room, and thank you, Blackwell, for your phone call, and thank you for everybody who made time not just to join us live, but if you decided to work up the courage to share your story live with us, we of course thank you all very much as well, and especially to our guest this evening, Braden Herrington. Of course, you can find him at the Brady, and for more dating advice from you, Braden, where do people? Like what, where can people hear?
I mean, if you were like following me on Twitter or Instagram, like probably like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you would see probably some reckless, funny shit and screenshots of conversations and stuff. But I am a grown individual and I keep things close to the chest unless I'm on a podcast and I'll just spew truthful things. But
it is on Behind the BDE exclusively.
Yeah, I definitely me and my co-host Davey, my roommate, we definitely have had our fair share of going through crazy dating experiences through our lives, and still are. So you want to hear us talk about all sorts of shit on podcasts, definitely follow us. Obviously we do wrestling podcasts, upNXT and BD Elite Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but we do lots of other shows where we definitely go on tangents. And Behind the BD is an exclusive show that we definitely, we get into some things that would probably get me canceled, but that's okay because it's behind a paywall and I trust people who pay me. But this was super fun. Again, Jordan and Wei, like you two coming together not only for the wellness policy, which is an awesome show and much needed, but for this topic as well is just awesome. And I hope someone listening right now got some advice that kind of help them maybe work up the jitters, the mojo to even download Tinder or to go talk to your barista at your coffee shop. It's not meaning you're gonna hook up right now, but talk to people, get in the jive of like, relationships and connections and stuff. Because I think Brandon said it. We kind of all said it. We got only a few rotations around the moon, and you gotta hoe it out. You gotta live your life. I'm sorry to quote Drake, but YOLO. Like, honestly, like, don't think, oh, well, it's going to happen eventually. No, it won't. Do the work and results will come. But yeah, thank
you, Braden. # ROH Buffalo.
Yeah. # Matt Taven, former ROH world champion.
Erica,
real quick, Erica, pre-chat. I'm sorry, Wei. You said that you've dated some pro wrestlers.
I wouldn't call them pro. I would call them like backyard wrestling, right? So indie wrestling. So there was somebody in Michigan, there was somebody in Chicago, then there was somebody in Baltimore, and then somebody from Richmond area.
Several backyard.
YOLO.
YOLO.
Are we talking like?
Did they teach you any wrestling moves? Yeah, light tube
backyard wrestlers. Like what level of backyard?
Was there war games? Was there?
A step below Ring of Honor.
Okay.
All right.
Right. So like decent. They were at gyms and things like that. Except for the Richmond one because they love they love backyard out there. Like that is a thing.
Is there a unifying maybe insight about either a wrestler or a wrestling fan that you've gained from your experiences?
I mean, they're performers, right? So they're inside their home. They're usually more shy. They're more subdued. And then outside, it's like, let's put on a show. That's why I was saying too, I'm retired roller derby. So our personalities usually mesh really well because I'm very outgoing and gregarious, whatever, it doesn't matter. But when I'm home, I'm like in t-shirts and like in shorts and just as casual as can be. And I think it's a very similar like performers personality. Same with comedians. It's a very like when we're out in the world, we're very energetic and we're very outgoing. And then when we're home, we're like, leave us alone and do not text me. That's too much.
And where can people find more of you? I know you had said that you for potential clients, people might be able to get into contact with Jordan, but do you have social media where people could follow you?
Sure. So I have, I actually do, I do a lot of side hustles. It's my thing. If you really want to follow me in terms of, social media, it's pickwitchcraft.com, spelled WHICH. And I do a feminist bags and crafting company that I do out of Baltimore. And then that is also the email for that is craft, CRAFT at pickwitchcraft.com. So you can contact me that way.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time. We'll have all of that in the show descriptions. Jordan, let's use this little bit of time at the end of the show to talk about what's coming up next month on the Wellness Policy.
Yes, we return next month. What a surprise, people. We're talking about music. I'm a musician. I most identify as a musician. I know Wei is a musician as well.
I'm a hobbyist.
As is Braden, as is Erica, as is everyone, because we all have a heartbeat. Yes. I have made a career out of using music for the outcome of wellness most generally. I believe that everyone is a natural-born musician, and I think it'll be fun and interesting and engaging to explore the many different ways in which music has served a role in our sense of identity, our sense of community, our sense of wellness, and so on. So it is the Wellness Policy. That is what we will be doing next month.
I'm incredibly excited about this topic. I mean, it's one that I think might be as relatable, if not maybe even more so than the topic of dating for a lot of the people that listen to the show. So maybe we might even, try to get a guest or two on that episode as well. So tune in here next month, probably with Thursday at 1:00 again, about a month from now. And again, thank you to everybody for joining us. Stay tuned to the rest of the POST Wrestling Café and the POST Wrestling Network for all types of different shows this weekend. It's all out weekend. A ton of content from me and John, but also Braden and Davey. You guys will be doing a whole lot with Davey actually being down there, right?
Actually, no. Davey's like, fuck you. I'm going on vacation. So I'm going to be doing a watch along for All Out with Dickie Bird. Shout out Dickie Bird. We're going to have a blast. But then I'm going to go and do a post show with Andrew Thompson. So listen for that on the upNXT feed coming out Sunday night as well. But yeah, thank you guys. That was awesome. You guys are completely awesome. And this show should never, ever end. Keep doing it every single month. No, don't stop. Bro. And everybody should go and love yourself because you can't love others if you don't love yourself.
Beautiful last words to end the show off. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you guys next month.